And welcome back everyone to the FSL Wild Rift Open for its fourth iteration. And now Riku, we're in the second series of the day. Just a while back we had a 3-game best of 3 series. And now with MXH Lotus ladies up against MEVISS, I don't know what to expect.
Oh yeah, after what we've seen so far, but of course, let's take a look at our bracket, our current bracket. Like earlier, we've already finished basically the Talon Esports and BGM ladies, and that was the three games of the BO3, and BGM ladies moves on, and they will face Sharper Esports. And of course, meanwhile, I know I'm having my eye on Grind Sky Ares, and they have managed to get that big 2-0 against Olympus, and now they move on to the next round.
Yeah, and I'm curious, right? Because Gia has been changed to a different team. So how would that work out for Grind Sky Aries? Can they still compete to the highest level? Or how does this work out for them is the question. But later on, we'll find out all throughout the tournament. We'll see how their standings are going to be. But for what we've seen a while ago, Riku, do you have any set expectations or still a mystery for the second series that we have for the day?
I think for me, it's mostly my expectations are to showcase a lot of these boot enchants like creatively, because we've seen that pickup from Kon Yumi. My word, that's Meteor enchant steal on that Rift Herald. That wasn't in my mind, and now it's gonna be in my mind every time I play Wild Rift. I'm gonna be very worried. I'm scared. So those are my expectations in the next series for sure.
It's just crazy, right? Because if we think about it, the Meteor Enchant deals like 25% magic damage based on enemy HP. And if it's current HP, then it's not that OP. But if it's maximum HP, like by 4 Meteor Enchant, that's 100% magic damage based on your HP. So it's really just an interesting thing to think about, right? But something else, Riku, is that we're here now on the draft. We're jumping right through. We're here for the picks and bans.
Let's go. Here we go. A lot of interesting and very different bans compared to what we saw in our very first series. Looking at MHX, we've got the Nasus and the Shyvana and the Karma. Karma has been a very a big theme of when it comes to the bans. So far, when we look at the opposite side, no wave clear, no global presence, and removing a big piece of the 131, and that's the Zed. But now Lucian being picked up.
And Lucian, once again, we've seen how its prowess were able to be a very dominant key to success just a while back alongside with Yumi, and that is still an option for LOTUS ladies to pick up as well. But on the other hand, for MEVISS, you now have Nami, so a first pick support for this team alongside with a hover onto Brand.
This is going to be incredible because this is potentially the double air quote support at the bottom lane, Nami and Brand. So water and fire, clashing elements, but there's a lot of damage to work with. You've got sustain and you've got DOT. Imagine tidal wave on top of Brand's ult. I think that's going to be incredibly deadly if they're going to aim for that big 2v2, especially if Mai wants an early lead on this Lucian. Looking back, this is a very familiar composition, by the way. This looks like a very, Talon with the Vi and the Jace as well, as we've seen from the earlier series.
Yeah, and expectedly, if they're going the same strategy, if they're going down the same road, they want to have that early aggression. So now the question is, how would MEVISS respond to this? Are they going to ban away these early game champions? Are they going in for late game instead to match up and have that opposite type of strategy or team composition?
Yeah, right now I think that answers our question, right? Because Fiora, very big 4-1 split push. No one can deal with a Fiora. Fiora is still the queen of the top lane, queen of the 1v1s, and when we're talking about late game, no one can deal with her. Not the Jace, not the Darius. So we'll see now, looking at the bans. Cat off of the table. Xin Zhao just removing a lot of these another jungler option rather for the side of MEVISS. And we'll see, because it's a lot of range so far for MHX. So I totally understand why they wanted to ban that Xin Zhao.
Yeah, and Xin Zhao being banned away would leave that Lucian to be just roaring in team fights, as you've stated. And now Kali and Wukong though banned as well. So, what are your expectations when it comes to the picks?
So they're lacking a jungler still on the side of MEVISS, right? So there's a lot of mystery still, saving that counter pick for that mid lane. Considering that, you know, the brand can still go towards mid lane, so there's still that big mystery for MEVISS. My expectations for MHX, though, very clear cut. Who is their support is my biggest question, because if they're gonna face Brand and Nami, you want someone that can heal you back. Yumi is still open, and we've seen that combination earlier from our previous match. It is the final chapter and illusion, and it answers the problem of needing sustain in the lane, because you're going to be having to face a big poke, a lot of damage on that 2v2.
Yeah, and aside from Yumi as well, you also have Nautilus, you also have Leona. We've seen the recent changes onto this, but you have Forgotten. Rakan is also open, and they're going to lock it in.
Yeah, it's going to be a Rakan support. I mean, I would like to see if it's a Lux Rakan combo at the bottom side, and then the Lucian's gonna go elsewhere. It's a Lux, or it's a traditional Lux in the mid lane, and have an aggressive support. A little bit of sustain, not as powerful as a Nami heal and versus a Rakan heal, but it will do the job, because most of the time, if you don't want to get poked out by these DOTs, by these 2v2 damage of the Nami and the Brand, then you basically just heavy engage, pull the trigger immediately to not get poked and get damaged.
Yeah, absolutely. I think right now what they're doing is a Lucian Rakan bottom lane, so it's a very traditional type of setup for MXH LOTUS ladies. As for MEVISS though, you have a Brand and a Morgana. We still do not know exactly where this would go, but if this is true to where they are going to go, it's a Brand Morgana bottom lane, which brings out a question: how would this pan out for Lucian Rakan?
I think it's going to be a bit difficult, because there's a lot of poke, and if it's a Morgana bottom lane indeed, then you just deny the engage basically because of that black shield. You cancel the CC, you cancel the heavy engage. While Rakan does have a lot of AoE options, it's still gonna make it difficult for Lucian Rakan to be aggressive at the bottom portion of the map. So at this point, it's very hard to pull the trigger if you're half HP, if you're close to dying from the pokes that we're going to be seeing from this Brand lane or Morgana lane.
Yeah, we'll see. As right now, we are already locked in onto the roles, and for the mid lane, it is going to be Nami for MEVISS.
Should be interesting if it isn't going to be a Nami mid. It's like, years and years ago. When did we see a Nami mid? I'm thinking about League of Legends though, as in Summoner's Rift Nami mid lane.
It's interesting because we've seen Rakan mid lanes, we've seen Lulu mid lanes, but
we'll see.
Not Nami.
It could be Morgana mid. It could be Morgana mid or Brand mid. Either way, Nami.
Switching roles, possibly.
We'll see where everybody's gonna go. We're gonna find out soon. Oh, it is gonna be a Brand Nami lane. There we go. Fire and water power.
So they did indeed change roles here, because in the list it was supposed to be Salmon going to the mid lane, but we're seeing it to be a support instead. So now we have a very standard and traditional lineup, but instead MEVISS going for more towards an AP type of composition. You have Nunu, you have Brand, and Morgana.
And that's why the Lux pick is very important, because you will need a shield to mitigate some of the incoming damage coming from MEVISS's composition, because there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of burst damage, there's a lot of POCs, so the shields are going to be very helpful. I feel like the Locket, the Solari enchant is going to be very important as well, just to add more shields onto the picture, because there's a lot of magic damage on the side.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned that.
Whoa!
Right now it's a 2v1, forcing out the flash from Nokbe, and that's just a huge summoner spell disadvantage right out of the gate, first mitigating the matchup. But on the other hand, it is also Salmon stuck at 1 HP, forcing out the flash and the heals successively to just stay alive. So a lot of summoner spells being burned early on.
Yeah, that's much better. The Lux Rakan configuration is much better than a Rakan Lucian 2v2 against MEVISS's dual lane, right? Because you have shields to mitigate, you have poke yourself and you have CC to chain lock everybody. You don't have the assistance of the Morgana, not just yet, because she's gonna be stuck in the mid lane. And here's the problem: it's up against Lucian, who is much better on the dueling part of things. So I can't imagine Elsa is gonna be completely shoved into her own tower.
Oh, May just going into the backside. First blood already secured with a Bolt Breaker, going for the knockoff. Now Mail coming in. Rakan goes in with a quickness Grand Entrance. Well, Grand Entrance, at the very least, will secure the double kill for MXH LOTUS. First 2 minutes into the matchup, huge advantage.
That was so clean by May. That was so clean by Huyen. With the Grand Entrance as well, and that was a very clean dive overall. And I think they LOTUS can rinse and repeat that. Vina can just keep poking, get them low enough, and then boom, May sets up for that big power dive, shove the minion waves in, get priority, and see where Kate is gonna be going for, right? Because you saw her at top side, then that's the time I can focus more on towards the bottom portion of the map.
Yeah, and just look at the positioning, right? How Rakan is just patiently waiting on the river bush, and now MEVISS as well going through with the support roam into the mid lane. So there are a lot of roams coming right through, and both these teams are really aggressive for this game one.
They want to get that big early lead, because when we look at the composition of LOTUS, it's very early to mid-game centric. Like we're talking about LOTUS, we're talking about this Rakan.
Yeah, and now it's Lulu and Willem as well, going for the knockoff, canceling the Grand Entrance. Final Spark along with the Light Binding puts Lulu and Willem's HP down very low. Fiora with a lunge along with a flash, not gonna be enough as Assault and Battery is a point and click skill. That will be a kill for MXH LOTUS. The third kill in the first 3 minutes.
Very familiar. You know, it's very reminiscent. Like Jace getting infused gold, and this is without the Rift Herald yet, by the way. So imagine getting priority over top side, getting Rift Herald, and then you get more open towers for yourself. Looks like Kate is able to prevent May from escaping, and therefore LOTUS gets a lot on this early game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a 4K gold lead is just not something that you cannot belittle. MXH LOTUS at the moment, so MEVISS just has to stay put. They have to think of something. And when it comes to the first objective, they're not in the best shape.
Yeah, because I think the priority-wise, it has been LOTUS in every single lane. You know, they are able to get Switch in that big tower dive. Vina as well. Vina's lane has been getting priority all throughout. And of course, Mai is taking good Lucian, because all Elsa can do is put the torment coil on the minion wave and then just clear the wave. That is it. That is going to be the biggest difficulty. So now, LOTUS has the ability to choose. They want to Herald, they want the Infernal Drake. I say get that Infernal Drake for the additional fighting power and damage.
Yeah, definitely. Especially they have the Lucian, they have the Lug, so that's increased damage overall up against MEVISS. They have the 4K gold lead as well to be able to utilize that. So extra damage overall. But with that said, MEVISS just has to counter, go in for a handshake onto the Rift Herald instead. 1-for-1 objective.
Oh, no steal. But they might initiate a fight here. He's gonna keep busy.
Rakan now going in. Flash with the quickness with the Grand Entrance and 3-man knock up onto the backside. No follow through though, but Flash coming in from Jace. Gets the double kill already. Not very low though. Elsa will not be able to secure it. Flash already forced away by to the backside. Go in for the Assault and Battery, and now Elsa is pinned down, and that will be more kills for LOTUS.
This is happening very, very fast. Hold that thought. Action did not stop here.
1v1 here on the bottom side of the map. Hikari going in. Sauce already there now. Ultimate from Vital.
Wow!
Will that be able to secure it?
Burning. Burning.
Yes, it is!
Woo! That was
the Airy.
yeah. The Airy, the DOT. And Vina almost had her ult too. So imagine it was a big potential of the both of them going down. It was heck if they're winning that duel. Mage duel, by the way, so fun.
Yeah, you're just seeing skills going all around the map, the team fight. not really auto attacks.
Yeah, yeah, not really auto attack. It's just combos and sparkly things flying around like fireworks, basically. It's a fireworks show. That 1v1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, but speaking of a fireworks go, like look at the positions of everyone, especially from MEVISS. You have a 3-man roam at the bottom side of the map, but considering Lotus is going in, pressuring mid lane, they're also going to respond to that. Nami going for the bubble, roots down onto Lucian. Final spark goes in, connects onto 2.
Ooh.
Tidal wave though going to be magnificent, as that will be a 2-man knockoff. Rakan going back away. You have Assault and Battery right out of the back side of that matchup up against Luna and Bulum. Now everyone's very low. 2-man already down from MEVISS. As we go back as May readies up the Vault Breaker. Going onto Salmon. That's not a lot of damage coming through. And now that's one more down as 3 for null in favor from MXH LOTUS.
Yeah, no need for that auto attack. Eric was there to save the day. Wow. LOTUS, MXX, they're doing it. They are getting everything. And right now it's just incredibly difficult because these are very scrappy fights. And you know that MEVISS, the way that their composition works, it's a very wombo combo centric type of composition. The requirement for you to execute is for everyone to be together.
Yeah. And as they say, the more the merrier. It
Yeah.
applies here.
Yeah, that is the ideal situation. Imagine if everybody from MXH were to clump up together, then all of, Hecate's ult would like just be very effective. And the Soul Shackles from Elsa, the Absolute Zero, the Tidal Wave, that is the ideal situation. But if MXH LOTUS keeps separating them, forcing them to just scatter, then that's not what you want. That's the counter.
Yeah, it definitely is. But right now, Ricardo on the bottom. MXH LOTUS has 3-man on mid lane, so it's going to be a difficult time to defend, especially as Noctua is the only one left here on bottom lane to defend it. It's a secured turret takedown on Heaven.
Which is here?
Could possibly be. Not be able to do so. Now we're going into the mid lane. We're going to take that fight. Salmon very low. Assault and Battery connects to that. Final spark takes it down. Nami is already dead. Rakan, that burn coming in from Brand, taking her down. That's a kill. That's a 1-for-1. But May is very low as well. They're still continuing that fight. They're not stopping. They just want to fight. As a 2-for-2 trade occurs.
Oh yeah, Noctua is the most powerful member of MXH LOTUS right now. She is incredibly strong. She's been getting a lot of these kills. May already invested so much on the top portion of the map with that dive, and now this is the payout. This is them cashing in Noctua's lead, and we'll see where she takes that lead further, because she can fight. Whenever MXH LOTUS wants to start a fight, she's gonna be there and she's gonna destroy everyone. That is the win condition right now that is being set up by Lotus.
OMG, Rico. I was casting events that happened a while ago. Like, my screen was going slow-mo. You know what? We're going back up. And now we're thinking for a kill lead for MXH LOTUS. An amazing feat for them with a 10k gold lead. And right now, we're going to have another fight. It's 3v2. Rakan going to take that kill up against Nguyen and Willem, but Fiora is the front line up against Nguyen. Rakan, Grand Entrance! The sidestep was magnificent. Was able to dodge it up, but now it's a 3v1. Make it a 4v1 as Chase just went through that. Able to secure that kill. It's already a 3-man down for MEVISS. Only traded with Illusion for MEVISS.
Props to MEVISS is that they've identified that the biggest problem is Noctua right now. So whenever they find an opportunity where Noctua is not around, then that's the time they initiate the fight. That's why they were able to take Mai's life. But the problem is if they take too long in the fight, Noctua is gonna rotate there, join the fight, and do cleanup, and just basically get more gold for herself. And at this point, this is such a huge lead. Infinity, it's 10k gold lead already.
Yeah, and 10k gold lead, 11 minutes into the matchup. That's like a k of a gold lead every single minute for MXH LOTUS. They do not stop. They're all aggression at this point, and MEVISS just has to do something. And getting a pick off, especially onto Illusion, is going to be a significant change for them if ever they do get it. But right now, Lotus just roaming around on top lane, and MEVISS just has to respect this roam.
Ooh. That's the respect that you were talking about. Flash now gone. 4 with. That means you can't do any possible outlay. Wow!
Oh, just Jace, very confident under the turret, take that kill onto Elsa. But right now, MEVISS sees them, goes for the snowball, dodge with a sidestep from Lucian. We'll be able to go back, no kills traded by MEVISS. So far, they're at a massive disadvantage. Lotus pushing in mid lane. Might just secure the tier 2 turret.
I have a question for you, Infinity.
What's that?
If you were Elsa, as in you want to build a snowman, would you still build a snowman if the snowball were green, like Nunu?
Oh, probably not.
You saw it, right? Just rolling down, making the snowman for Elsa.
Oh no, you just broke that scenario for me. Green, no. Probably Elsa's gonna say no.
I can't imagine. Yes, that would be the answer. Oh dear.
And it's not just like plain green. It has like weird black lines. So it's, yeah.
The gooey stuff and Nunu.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
But going back
Yes.
into the game.
Yes.
We now have the Baron Nashor alive for this matchup. If Lotus takes this, would you think it's over?
Okay, from how I see, MEVISS still has a little bit of that leeway. And that leeway is this, number 1, getting a pick. Number 2, fights where spaces are so constricted. Meaning Baron buff, Baron area rather, or Dragon pick. That is very easy to get all of these ults and key skills in one succession and make sure that you get value out of it. Right now,
Wow, Command Grand Entrance immediately coming in from Rakan, and now Nuno is in danger. They have to go back, but with the Proto Belt being able to secure that kill, there's no jungler left from MEVISS. Now they can start a Baron Nashor with a 3-man disadvantage from MEVISS to be able to secure it. Now, this is a huge lead for Lotus to be able to secure the first win of this series.
yeah, this is such a huge lead though. Like even though they've been using their ults, they're just too tanky. They've got a lot of answers with MR, with the shields coming from Lux, Venus. Absolutely huge. Wow! Okay, I thought that was an execute somewhere, but it is Elsa managing to get revenge against Volpe there with that shutdown.
Absolutely insane. However, Rakan is going for the flag, cutting through Elsa's retreat. And now we have the Proto Belt. Grand Entrance might be ready just a couple of seconds in. Elsa just has to delay it. That's all that she can do. Will miss out. And that sidestep will not be enough. Snowball knocks up onto Rakan, and Lux will be there watching as well. They have the retreat. MEVISS, he can't fight this no longer. Lotus just so dominant. 14 minutes into the matchup, already at 18k gold lead.
They have the Baron buff as well, so they can keep sieging both of these towers, and no one can defend. They cannot go near, or else they're gonna get binded. And now they're watching the Nexus. Wow.
Well, can just go for the ultimate, because once he steps foot in the range of Lucian, she's gone. And now Fiora has to go back away, help support and defend the Nexus as it's falling down slowly but surely. Fiora lunges, takes the kill onto Rakan. The next step would be Vi, but the minions has just secured it, and Lotus strikes first in series.
MXH Lotus, what a dominant performance. No signs of weaknesses coming from the game number 1. Able to get everything, able to get Mokbe ahead, getting that tower dive, Mei setting up for the team, and Vina and Huyen, they did a phenomenal job in that big 2v2 with the shields and getting priority. I think it just snowballed into basically getting all the dragons and getting all of these towers, and therefore having MEVISS have a difficult time getting back into the game. MHX, from start to finish, very, very strong.
Yeah, and then constantly just getting a lot of advantage, even despite in the early game as well. They were able to constantly roam and cut in onto MEVISS. and therefore giving them a lot of gold lead. The first 10 minutes, we already saw a huge gap in that game.
Yeah, I think while there's a lot of burst damage on the side of MEVISS, they didn't have consistent damage. Like they needed the shields to not exist, the healing to not exist, and to get ahead in the lane. But since the lack of ADC, not a lot of consistent damage, meaning they will struggle taking down these towers, meaning they will need Rift Herald to make this composition effective and to infuse gold onto these targets. But in the end, MHX LOTUS had a very, very clean game. I love their composition. They've got a lot of CC. They were able to get Mei, rather they were able to get Mokbe on a very comfortable state as the Jace to just do split push things and be a menace in a 1v1 scenario.
Yeah, and now this brings up the question, what can we do for game 2 for the opposite side? Are they going to change their draft? Are they not going to rely on a Brand and Morgana type of setup and a tank jungler now that they have lost up against Lotus in a very dominant and snowball matchup that we had so far for the very first game?
Yeah, I think for me, I really loved everything except the Morgana mid lane. It's really amazing on paper, but if you can't get priority, then you won't be able to get into Dragons or especially Rift Herald, which they really needed with the composition that they had, because they can't push towers without the Rift Herald, as they do not have an AD carry that can easily, you know, whittle away these instructors down. So I think I loved everything except the Morgana. So something that can match up to the Lucian, something that can get priority and help secure objectives for them to make that composition work.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if that expectations can be met for game number 2 of this series. But for now, it's already match point for MHX LOTUS. 1 game away to take the series away. We're going to take a short break for now. Don't go away. I'm Infinity, and this is Riku. Welcome back, everyone, to the FSL Wild Rift Open 4. We're now here for the game 2 match point for MHX LOTUS. And Riku, I think I just saw you a while ago, and you're here as well.
Uh-huh.
So did you just double yourself? How does that work?
Wait, what? Oh, I get the joke. Yes. The disappointment in Infinity's face being not being able to follow. I'm so sorry. Oh, yes, because I was in the video earlier. Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Yes. Magical powers of technology. That's what happened.
Speaking of magic powers, though, we saw double AP or triple AP champions from game number 1 just a while back. Now we're here for game 2. How would MEVISS change their lineup if ever they do change it, be able to match on par with Lotus this time around?
I really think they needed someone to keep mid lane intact and make sure that they had priority, because I feel like the early game was such a huge struggle for MEVISS because all lanes lost priority. They couldn't move to get dragons, they couldn't move to get Rift Heralds, and they couldn't move to make proactive plays around the map. So I think that is the struggle. So I hope to see something that is very solid in the mid lane, something that can match the Lucian earlier, something that can kill or assassinate the Lucian. And I think that would have been ideal rather for them to get objectives.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned a while ago as well about marksmans being a point wherein MEVISS could also consider for faster objective takedowns and also turret takedowns, and I do agree with that. So we'll see if they could change their lineups to match up and go to the game 3 in this best of 3 series, as we're jumping right through into the picks and bans.
Let's go! I mean, MHX LOTUS, they had a phenomenal performance in game number 1. Very convincing, incredibly strong from game 1, from start to finish at game number 1. So now the adaptation from MEVISS is to ban Deluxe, because again, it's a very amazing answer to burst compositions, just because of the shields, or DOT compositions rather, because it just deters the incoming damage with the shield, just as we mentioned. And now it's the Lucian again, by the way.
Yeah. But instead of a Yuumi,
it's a Karma!
Or Rakan, rather.
Maybe.
It's Karma.
Maybe if they lock it in.
Potentially.
Oh, wow.
Nope. We're running it back.
We're running it back. Still keeping the Karma, though. And this is curious to me, because while we see a Karma now, will we see a Karma Lucian lane? We've seen how MHX LOTUS is very flexible when it comes to that and not revealing too much into their draft. So this still could be Mai's mid lane Lucian, or perhaps a different scenario, or Vina Venus dual lane instead.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to karma, it's all on you. You're the master of karma. I don't know.
Yes, I love Karma so much. So I'm excited to see where this is gonna go because honestly, this still could go towards mid lane. Because you do have wave clear, you can assist the jungler, which is Mei here on this Vi. So perhaps it is a possibility as well with a lot of utility to bring. But let's talk about MEVISS. Ziggs, I like Ziggs because remember the problem earlier is priority. Ziggs auto gets priority because you just wave clear, you have a ton of wave clear, and that is the solution that is amazing. And while you don't have an AD carry, Ziggs is known to be an amazing structure destroyer because of his passive.
Yeah, and now that I'm looking at their draft, there is an option for them to go for a Senna route. They have the Gragas, they have Ziggs that may be able to go to the mid lane, and Ashe could be as well, but a Senna would be that option for them that is more ideal. A very infinite scaling champion that could really be strong, and now that they've locked it in, I'm excited to see how MEVISS would turn out here in Game 2.
It's very nostalgic for some reason. I know the previous season for like Wild Rift just ended, and this is very nostalgic seeing Senna back again, Ziggs back again. So wave clear, Senna with infinite scaling, just as you mentioned, and there's a lot of AP going around once more when it comes to MEVISS' composition. So moving over to MXH Lotus though. Wait, Jarvan and Xin Zhao on the same team. Jarvan top? Xin Zhao jungle?
Possibly.
Ooh.
Or don't tell me there's a Jarvan mid lane, because I'm gonna lose my mind.
That's possible, because it might be a Riven mid lane maybe. We'll see. Wow.
We'll see.
I like this. I like the mystery that MEVISS is throwing at MXH Lotus and to everyone. This is a okay. So how MEVISS' composition is going to work is that they have the Cataclysm. And then Ziggs is going to rain all the bombs in the world onto this Cataclysm. But the problem is there's a lot of mobility on MXH Lotus' side. So even if you trap one, the only person that you can trap is Karma. Riven, Vi, Ahri, Lucian, they can just pass through the wall with their mobility and just get away. So Karma's the only target of that Cataclysm. So we'll have to see how they can maximize this Jarvan pick for their comp.
Yeah. I think what they need to do, if ever, is to have chain CCs pouring down. Right? Because if not, as you've stated, there's just a lot of ways out for MXH Lotus to just go away from an engage. So really important stuff there. But as of yet, who do you think will win the early game or the late game for both these teams, Riku?
Good question, because it's all about who is able to get priority. And perhaps Lotus can rinse and repeat that sort of strategy. Because so far, Lucian and Karma requires a very aggressive 2v2 lane. You have to make proactive moves around the map. But if you're up against someone who's just going to wave clear and not interact with you, then how are you going to get your 2v2? You're going to get your early lead, rather. That means you have to wait a couple of minutes for that Rift Herald fight, for that Dragon fight, and that is your avenue.
Alright, and now we're here for game number 2. We're jumping into the Rift as of yet with MXH Lotus on a 1-game lead, already at match point up against MEVISS.
It's a very convincing win too, very dominating win rather, by MXH Lotus early, a 15-minute game. And now this seems to be a very similar setup to enable that, but I think MEVISS' composition now has a more powerful way to get priority for themselves in the mid lane, most importantly.
Yeah, and a very interesting that I'm seeing right now, Riku, is we're having an early clash with which being ignited will not be able to secure that kill though.
So close to
dying. Very scary for Witch as Riven just went in. That's the first blood right out of the gate. 40 seconds into the matchup.
Oh, yeah. And Mokbe is able to escape once more. And the fact that Mokbe is able to delay Cabe's red buff take because she had to go away and try to kill Mokbe. And wow, that's a really nice and incredible solo play done by Mokbe against Witch.
Yeah, so a jungle delay, a top delay, pretty much all delays happen. from that fight alone, so a lot of advantage right out of the bat for Lotus in this early game. And just a while ago in the draft, we're talking about who will get that early game, and as I'm seeing it, looks like Lotus has a huge possibility of getting that early game foundation as we have another kill into the bottom lane once again.
Wow! That was so close. That was too close for Mai as well. Because the shields were there. And I think there's a possibility of eliminating Hecate as well. Like, okay, she does have exhaust. Once the Spirit Rush comes again, at least that burst will be mitigated a little bit. And I think that's the struggle, right? When you're up against the big lane, he's not going to interact with you. Just going to keep raining bombs and clear the wave as long as they get priority. Which
oh! Might be another kill. Ribbon just went in, flash away. A very clean kill coming in from Knockbit. Time and time again, the punish is there.
And take note, this is without May's influence at the top portion of the map. May has been focusing more on towards the mid lane, killing camps, and making sure they get double scuttler as a good start for MXH Lotus. And imagine Ngope operating solo. That means this is an incredibly big lead. Ngope is getting what she wants again, like when we looked at game number 1.
Yeah, it's not just that, right? Because when that fight happened, Witch was level 3. Knockbit was already level 5. So he has that level reset. Right now, it's 2v1.
Wow.
It's quite difficult. Blade of Exile might be able to scare it, will not be able to do so though. Ignite, tick, tick, tick. That's a kill coming from MEVISS. Made it back. Right now, it is the bottom lane once again. Another fight being occurred, calling down Stalmon and Elsa. Rita's there onto Huyen BT. Or Huyen BT, rather. But will not be able to convert. But Vina on the backside. Spirit Rush is readily available. The charm is there. Orb of Deception with the Ignite. Tick. But Senna with the ultimate just have to save her own life from that kill trade from MEVISS. Something that they need.
Yeah, Cape is doing an amazing job making sure that the lanes are, they're able to get like exchange kills or even getting the kills, like counter reacting rather. And we saw top lane, they wanted to do another 1v1. Guess what? Cape was there. Bottom lane, Vina wanted to get a double kill. Guess what? Cape was there. So the presence of Cape sort of mitigating the pressure coming from MXH Lotus is an amazing start in comparison to game number 1. This is what they need, and they have to keep doing this.
Yeah, so we're seeing how this can turn out for MEVISS though. Still a 1 kill deficit. The 1.5k gold lead for MXH Lotus. Still ways to go for MEVISS, but still it is a good start for them to make it back to the matchup. And so far, with 30 seconds left, or 35 seconds left, for the objective to come out, expectedly, both these teams are either going to play it safe or going to be very aggressive, as we're seeing it right now.
Like right now, yeah, he got the flash again!
Flash! Goes in!
Mai! That was so smooth! Hecate did not see that coming. Mai is very aggressive, so good.
We did not see that coming.
Nope.
Everyone did not see that coming.
Nope. Oh, Mai didn't even need her exhaust. Just flashing in, auto attacks, combo, boom. Really nicely done. Perfect timing too, because the objectives are up.
This is what we're talking about. Like, prior to an objective, you can be very aggressive to have the man advantage, or play it safe to have a 5v5. Instead, right now, MXH Lotus wants to go for that team fight, as Gragas is very low. They've already secured Huyen DT from that fight. Hecate throwing out bombs. Mai is very low already. The dragon is half HP. But look at the backside. It's Vina going for the charm onto Senna with Ignite, burning her down. That's a kill traded for Ocean Drake.
Yeah, they're gonna get a tower as well. So making a better job.
Yeah, with an exhaust, that's a lot
One
to
more auto.
handle coming in for Sin Jiao. But the trade is there. It's a 1-for-1. The turret is still not dead. It's still not broken down. Hecate with a clutch save off that tier 1 turret. But on the opposite side of the map, it's still Riven just pushing as well.
Towers are slowly going down on the side of MEVISS. MXH really amazing control so far, and amazing I think they started like, hey, we might be too aggressive so far, so we're gonna take it down a notch, and it's now starting to work again. Tower's still up here in the mid lane though, but that's just one more fight. One more auto attack rather.
I'm just looking for you.
I see her. I'm looking.
Disengage one. I missed. Everyone's just roaming around the mid lane. Because that's the point of contention right now for Lotus. If they secure the tier 1 turret, we will have the map advantage.
Yeah, they're slowly whittling down this very comical like this. Like MXH understands that, okay, we're not gonna fight, it's fine. We're gonna take towers, we're gonna out-rotate you instead. Look at bot lane. They and MEVISS wants to get a trade at least for kills and a tower, but Vina, a very slippery champion.
Yeah, Stinjao uses up the
Wow!
ultimate. The explosive cast already there. Don't get a knockback as well. As Salmon uses up the ultimate to secure the kill. That will be a 1-for-1 trade for both these teams. But the turret secured by Lotus as well.
I think that's pretty worth. One life for 10 seconds,
Definitely.
more or less, for 2 towers, mid lane and top lane. That's super worth. Vina did an amazing job being that gatekeeper, if you will, to prevent any sort of tower takes. And no trade whatsoever done by MEVISS so far. Because MXH Lotus is just so good.
Yeah, I mean, from game 1, very dominant. And game 2 so far has been quite of a slippery road, but they're going back into their dominant form. It's now a 7k goal lead by Lotus in 8 minutes. So MEVISS has to trade something back, or else this will be another game 1 that we've seen a while ago.
This is it. This is the response.
It will be 1. Cataclysm locks in onto Riven, and Riven is just stuck. 2v1 pinned down. That's a kill for MEVISS.
I think this is where they pivot. Getting Cape to get her presence in lanes where it matters. And so far, Cape has always been there when she's needed.
The 4-man roll for Lotus. This is dangerous positioning for MEVISS. The roots onto 1. It's going to be very significant for Lotus to punish MEVISS. The dual lane down for the count, and now the tier 2 turret. Left standing for MEVISS on bottom lane, but they're pushing as well on the opposite side.
Okay, Ngokwe chasing. Cape right now. Will she get it?
There go Enchant uses up the flash over the wall. Has to go back to safety because Ngokwe is just going for a very aggressive playstyle here, no matter for which. And the Ignite's just sticking her down. That might be a kill. That is secured. Now it's going to be Mai going through to support. But it's a 4-man roam from MEVISS. Final decision to go back to retreat.
Revenge. I can feel Ngokwe like, oh, you keep visiting my lane. Oh, I'm gonna chase all of you. And now Rift Herald though available for the taking. Vina again very slippery. She's creating a lot of the pressure points in the map, therefore hurting a lot of the members from MEVISS away from, you know, like the Rift Herald, like the other tower, like at some point in the map. And I think it's been working. Like maybe Vina hasn't been doing, you know, the typical Ari having to assassinate, getting that charm down, but being someone that hurts other members from MEVISS elsewhere is also an amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely. And as of yet, they're just playing tag. No one's going for a full-in team fight, especially with Infernal Break coming up at 15 seconds. No, this is actually very clever from Lotus, putting out the Rift Herald on top side, putting out Conundrum from MEVISS. What do they need to do? What did they contest and object towards to?
And they need Witch again. And they need, it's not, Witch isn't enough to prevent Ngokwe here. They need 2 more additional people, and they can't. You're right. This Rift Herald is going to get 1 tower down, but it's a 4v5. Take note, 4v5. Charm! 4v4 now!
Lotus, nice engage. Now Cataclysm coming from Jarvan 4. Now that's over. Then already down. Mei might be gone by a couple of seconds here. No jungle already left for Lotus. The trade for both junglers. It's Witch. Very, very low. He's still pushed, but look at Riven on top side. That is
Base!
the base race. No one's going through. Well, it's not really a base race because it
There's another
is
charge?
Lotus the only one pushing through. But Hecate,
Boom.
they ignite the stuns, the stasis to buy some time. Herald will be able to go back, but the kill coming in from MEVISS will be crucial at that point in time. That will be a defense for them, but Inhib turret lost on top side.
Infinity, that was a hashtag worth right there. Is Mike gonna?
Oh well.
She's fine.
No,
There's
no.
a shield.
Yeah.
She's fine. They get a kill.
Absolutely is.
Yeah, it's fine. But they get a kill on Vina though. But here's an interesting thing. That was hashtag worth by Nocte. Because the fact that they got two charges on towards the Nexus as the last charge of that Rift Herald, that's hashtag worth, that's hashtag value. So now MEVISS has to constantly think about the lane pressure top side in mind almost always. And it's Nokbe who's going to be there for sure to continue on to that push. Bottom side even maybe, as you see her transitioning over there to do some damage to structures. And even mid lane gone!
Yeah, they just want to get that tier 2 turret in the mid lane. And now they're going back. They already got the objective that they want. So it's not really that ideal for them to force out fights any longer from then on forward. So clever move from Lotus to go back away.
It's been incredibly difficult to defend MHX's Lotus rotations so far, because even if they don't win fights, they've been getting all of these towers. There's a fight though. They get Witch!
Yeah, there's a fight. The double root will be there, no follow through though. MEVISS having a difficulty being able to defend, being able to match up the pacing of MHX Lotus, especially that we're considering 12 or 13k goal lead for the side of Lotus up against MEVISS. At this point in time, we're seeing the same dominance. But Mai, did she disconnect? He did! Oh no! So MEVISS will be able to punish the ADC of Lotus, and now that she's gone, they're going in one by one, slowly creeping in Lotus's dominance.
Nokbe here though.
Yeah, they're going to the 2v1 on the bottom lane, but that's hashtag worth it once again. They opened up the bottom lane, so the natural lane pressure is there. Now Ziggs with the ultimate, being able to secure one more kill with Julian, the only left standing. MEVISS will be able to punish. That's an ace for them, and this might be the chance for them to make it back.
And they can't take their time and get this Baron because look at the pace. It's in shambles right now. Two lanes are open, just as you said. And right now, that is enough space to get and try to bait using that Baron. And Nokbe, uncontested so far. You need to spend more members to deal with her. You have to make it a 1v2 scenario. Like earlier, Salmon and Witch were forced to deal with her because she's that strong at this point of the game already. Even if she dies at this point of the game, as long as she gets the tower, it's mission accomplished.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen. When it comes to the patterns of this tournament so far, you have the Baron lane consistently just pit pushing, putting up a space if ever the opposing team just goes in contest. You have an objective being open on the opposite side of the map, but that matter here, Vina is stuck over the wall.
Wow.
This explosive cast, knock up onto Vina and Ney. Follow through
Wow!
the root onto Vina, the
Damage!
bombs following up with Hecate. That's a secured kill. Mid lane gone for MHX Lotus.
Crazy! The bombs and the barrels, the double Bs, just doing a lot of work here. And the thing is, Vina had just you know, they had no choice because there's a lot of damage.
Yeah. And that might just be the key here for MEVISS. Just poke up a little bit of Lotus's HP and then go into a full-blown team fights if ever they could get an opportunity to do so, especially they have Witch to be able to lock in enemy champions. Just pick off, and then get the man advantage.
And that's why MHX cannot start the Baron with Hecate nearby. They have to eliminate her first before they can comfortably take this objective.
Oh, 2v1 once again, but Ngok. Ngok might just be invulnerable at this point. Too tanky.
Wow!
Oh, the flash, stun, double knock up. That's someone getting huge chunk of damage there, but Nokbe is in danger. She has to run, she has to hide, but Witch was able to just run in and catch up. That's the kill.
There it is!
Laner gone for Lotus. Stasis Enta denies main
Charge!
focus, Gussault and Battery, but the follow-up from Bina is phenomenal. Now MEVISS were able to take 2 kills away, and Lotus has to retreat.
They're finding Elsa. Elsa!
Ooh, Turtle Belt, along with a body slam, but no one to knock up, no one to CC, and Huyan is there, Mei is there, and they're just able to punish Elsa. You can't build Snowman no longer. Goodbye. It's MEVISS taking another kill. Or well, Lotus taking another kill for their team.
That's a 10k gold lead again. Infinity is looking to be like the same fate as game number 1. With now the Earthquake getting taken without any sort of contestation whatsoever. And as you can see, Salmon is forced to go on defensive mode, try to clear the waves, because without Hecate, it's going to be a challenge to clean up the base and make sure that none of the minions will knock on their door. And with that said, Lotus, all they have to do, once you kill Hecate, you can get Baron. You can comfortably get Baron. Or kill the jungler too!
Too far away, the jungler is in danger, pinned down, exhaust, everything's being poured down! And now it's Kate, already gone. Lotus has the advantage, no junglers left standing for MEVISS, but instead they're trying to finish this up, they're finishing the game. Nexus is now open, no inhibitors left. This is scary for MEVISS, Riku.
10k gold lead, Infinity. This is what Lotus wanted to set up from the very beginning. And it's the constant theme of Nokbe not even requiring Mei's help this time around. Mei's presence at the top open of the map. She has been doing the work with a big 1v1 up against Witch. Jarvan. Wow, Huyan.
But Hecate has the level advantage, so
Nice.
pretty much Huyan cannot do anything, but instead a trade. A kill for a Baron Nashor. But at this point in time, I think it's hashtag worth it.
Yeah, it was very, very worth. As long as you were able to zone out Hecate. Imagine if Hecate was there. Imagine if Hecate was in zone. You saw Bina, you saw everybody else from at that Baron pit that were incredibly low. And they know that they have to respect that Ziggs. And now though they secure this Baron, it's go time. It is Lotus aiming for this big 2-0. They have everything in their pockets. You know, Hecate, a lot of pressure on her to clear the wave and make sure Lotus doesn't reach the Nexus.
Yeah, the pressure is there. Yes, she could definitely clear out the waves easily, but the thing is, there's 3 waves pushing in. I don't know if she can do this so far for a 3-wave push, with Baron Nashor being utilized in the next goal.
Very difficult. Last stand for MEVISS now.
The Nexus is put down. The minions putting through, half HP left. The minions is doing the work. No need for Lotus to even take a shot onto the Nexus, as MEVISS will lose this series and Lotus will proceed into the next bracket.
And they move on, just as you said, Infinity, in dominant fashion. Both game 1 and game number 2 had a very similar formula of getting Nokbe ahead and then winning 1v1 and then split pushing for the team and removing towers. It doesn't matter if you see like 6 deaths there. It was the towers falling that made it hashtag worth and hashtag value. And at this point, you know, Hecate was like that gatekeeper, like that wave clearer that we talked about before game number 2 started, where, well, they need priority. They needed someone to hold the ground in the mid lane so that they can take objectives on the side. But unfortunately, Nokbe, you know, had other plans, winning that big 1v1 against Witch, and then just getting towers here and there.
Yeah, and what MXH Lotus is doing, yes, you have a lot of late game potential scaling with Senna, with Ziggs, very strong damage dealers, but we're gonna push through in the early game. We're gonna go aggressive, we're gonna push through, we're gonna win it before you're even able to scale up. And Lotus at this point in time is such a dominant team, I'm really excited to see, are they going to be able to reach the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the grand finals? How would this work?
Yeah, that is definitely the big question as we still have tomorrow to. Well, the day is not over. We still have one more series for sure on our third series of the day. But yeah, there's a lot of questions, because we had a full game 3 earlier, and now we have a very dominating 2-0 Infinity.
Yeah, a clean sweep coming from one side onto another. But let's actually look at the brackets for now before we proceed into a short break to see what is going on our tournament so far.
Yeah, it has been very I wouldn't say like unpredictable. Like it has been very. You get two sides rather. Like you see dominant, and then you get to see very close games so far. As we saw earlier, VGM Ladies was able to take 2-1 against Talon Esports, despite the early lead that Talon is able to garner at the beginning of each game in that series. And now we just witnessed another incredible series, 2-0 this time around.
Absolutely, and we have VGM Ladies, as you said a while ago, very dominant. And then coming through up against Sharper Esports. Will happen tomorrow for the quarterfinals, I think. No, today. For the quarterfinals, you have One Snap Catalyst, MDH Esports, which we will be looking forward to later on after the short break. And then you also have Grind Sky Aries, UGH Guardians for the third bracket for the quarterfinals. And lastly, you have MXH LOTUS Ladies up against One Snap Amazon. So we have two One Snap teams right now for the Wild Rift Open 4.
Yeah, that's absolutely exciting, as it's just going to be, the competition is like incredibly close, and I just can't wait to see how that's going to go.
Yeah, and speaking of how it's going to go, let's see later on how that would turn out in the quarterfinals. But before then, let's actually take a short break. I'm Infinity, and this is Rico with me, and Wild Rift Open 4 will come back.